Aloha. Today I wanted to address, speak on the concept or the idea of money and how really focus in on the correlation between people speaking on money and the root of all evil and how that all fits in to whatever in my perspective. So it'd be as quick as possible, I guess, just to get to the point. It's not necessarily the root of all evil, but I made the connection earlier today is that the understanding of evil that I would get close to with money is the understanding of what money does when it takes away life. So there's life, and then there's like the anti-life, and anti-life is where you spiral yourself into the depths of darkness and don't really get to even experience the baseline model of your life force energy, your connection to even your human experience, let alone your spiritual experience beyond, and to a connection to the planets, the nature, into your own understanding of a great spirit or a universal spirit or whatever some people relate to as God. But the spirit that exists in everybody gets kind of like bombarded with distraction magic, and we can't even really pay attention to. We lose track with our own life. So there's right now how money has been installed into the system as part of the system, now as the system. Like it's like double layers of involvement that completely cover up the human connection to each other and the human connection to the planet and its resources, and the resources that we utilize to live on this planet. So the idea of money gets in between of all these things because of ideas and illusions that get implanted by other people who mean to control those resources or the people, and more often than not it's all of them. So these illusions get created, and then they just get like these fires get sparked, and then they just stoke the fire and add more fuel to the fire, and before you know it, that new fire is your new sun. That fire is your new light that guides you through your life. And that's as close as I can get to relating money to the root of all evil, is because it takes life away by existing so bright as it is within our livelihood, and in reality it doesn't need to exist at all. It doesn't need to it's like a correlation between how religions that exist to soak energy and soak time and resources from individual people and soak their connections to the higher spirit, the Most High. Some religions are designed, actually the whole idea of that religion is designed to be that middle ground. On the positive end, it's meant to connect you on the, and it does in some senses. Overall, once you get to that connection, then you start to worship the religion instead of actually connecting with the spirit. So when that happens, it's no different than people worshiping money. and getting stuck in the concept of just getting more money. So it takes away life in a sense that we don't even get to live our lives. We spend our days trying to get more money, and once you get more and more into that space, you realize that you can never really be happy ever, because you're constantly thinking about, you're constantly in the future. The fact that money exists the way it does today, even the most, the deepest meditators that still have a job, even they are existing in a space that still has to adjust to the future and still kind of pulls you out of the moment in some kind of vibratory fashion because of our surroundings. And we lose our lives because our moment exists like on and on like this. It flicker rates of picture moments in a movie, like flip books. When money gets involved, so there's a piece in that one page. You have peace each flick. There's a universal peace in being able to take a breath and lock in to that existence, that state of existence, that state of peace, that state of mind, that state of heart, that state of beingness that is one with all that is. And when you insert time, and then you insert money, and then you insert separation and how all of that exists, and bumble it all together in like a dirty washer machine, and then have people wear those clothes, then what you end up doing is you end up having like a lot of people who have no idea how to connect to happiness because they don't have time. They're too busy trying to make ends meet and get resources met. So it steals time. It adjusts our happiness fields. Now our entire happiness fields get manipulated to reflect a certain financial makeup or whatever it is. And that's the main thing. Like, to expand it even more, now there's like the 0.001% of the people who got all the money and everything, they really don't have to worry about anything. When you have ideas of lower class and middle class, those groups of people, that's the majority. Those people will never really get to understand the monetary worlds of happiness, or the depths of that happiness, because it's designed to be that way. You have to fight your way out to even understand the reality that exists outside of that. Like, so this is why another way that it's easier for the artistic community in the inner cities that don't get caught up in the money system, can actually find true happiness by understanding that from lack, from not having for so long, that your true depths of happiness have nothing to do with objects, especially money. Has nothing to do with any of that. But the constant bombardment of information counter to that idea is what we fall under. And that is the mainstream frame of thought, frame of mind. And we get lost in that field, and that becomes the casino rules, the house rules becomes the main focus. So we lose our happiness connectors, we lose time, we lose when we lose time with our family. So we lose connections with our family, we lose a lot of things. And that in itself, if you ball all that stuff together, you can say, well, all this stuff happens as a result of this existing when it doesn't really need to exist. So that could be, the argument could be made as, you know, the root of all evil and all that. But that's like the dramatization of ideas to keep people from understanding what good and evil really is, what money, you know, really is on an expansive scale, as opposed to a linear, like, point, like a definition or a label. That's like how this world, the patriarchal system works. It's like pointing at a definition or an idea and saying this is what that is, and then repeating those patterns, and then that's, you know, that's what people live their lives as. And it's not like that. We're not all straight lines. We're not all designed like those ideas. So we miss out on the circles of life. We miss out on an entire existence based upon an idea that gets repeated and amplified. So it's not necessarily the root of all evil, but when it starts to mess with your life force, when it starts to mess with your connection with your family, when it starts to mess with your connection to your spirit, which it easily can be seen as doing that now on a individual, family, culture scale, community scale, national scale, continental scale. It does this sort of thing, and we lose touch with our humanity. We lose touch with our the true essence of who we are, and we get caught up in the stuff that involves things that only involve, like, money. This is where people dress themselves in, like, stuff that's thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, when there's, you know, hungry people on the streets and all kinds of other stuff. There's like the imbalances of understanding our connections to each other get amplified with casino rules, with house rules, with constantly thinking about the future, constantly trying to get that next dollar, that next whatever that is, that next space. That in itself could easily be understood or seen as evil, and it becomes our it takes our life away, and you end up having stacks of ideas around you that all are meant to implode on the illusion that money is based on, which is just an illusion of itself. So a lot of these walls that we surround ourselves with are walls based upon illusions like fiat currency and stuff like that. So I'll leave it there for now. I think I pretty much hit the majority of the points of the correlations between money and religion and frames psyches and how it all mixes all together and keeps us from our life force and our maximum potentials. So that's it for now. So till next time, thank you for joining me. Peace, love, and harmony.